Hello, everyone. Fine. Our today's topic is scattering amplitude in terms of phase shift. Today's topic is interesting in a particular sense. Before coming to today's topic, let me share my personal story. Nearly 40 years back, I was doing MSc. At that time, we used to have our Viva in the practicals. And the head of a department used to call students one by one in his chamber and used to take viva in within the panel of examiners. So all teachers used to sit along with the head of a department and they used to conduct the MSc viva or viva voice examination. So one by one student used to call and viva was conducted. So we friends used to stand just outside the department and would wait for a friend to come out after attending the viva. From his face, we could judge that how was his performance. If his face is laughing and pleasant, then we would think that his performance was good. But his face, if face was down, then we would feel that the performance was not good. So the face was indication of the performance of viva. So that used to tell us before meeting the friend, how was his performance. Same thing is applicable whenever we are having a interview. When we come out, our face indicates that how was our interaction with the interview committee, whether interaction was pleasant, successful. If the pleasant interaction was there, our face would indicate in a pleasant feeling. And if the interaction was not good, then our face would be heavy face and it would not give a pleasant feeling and it would indicate that the interaction was not good. So let me come to the first slide. How the partial wave interacts with the potential. That is our today's topic. Now I come to the part which I had already discussed in a form of a story. In an interview or a viva was, our facial expression indicates how was our performance, good or poor, or meeting with the committee was good or not good. So on the right hand side, the picture shows that there are two facial expressions, one pleasant, another is sad. In case of partial waves approaching to the potential of a target, how one can find that the interaction was good or bad. So there are two smileys, one is good, another bad. And the thing is that not by the phase shift, but by the phase shift. So in human being, the phase shift means either it is a pleasant phase or a sad phase. And here it is not the phase, but a phase. And the phase shift indicates that how was the interaction. So encounter of partial wave with the potential can be judged by the phase shift of a partial wave produced by the potential. So whenever partial wave encounters the potential of a target, the phase shift occurs. From the phase shift, we can identify the type of potential, type of interaction, and we can also find out whether it was a pleasant interaction or not pleasant interaction with the target. So we are going to see this particular things in our subsequent topics in a mathematical way. So the scattering amplitude in terms of phase shift. So I again emphasize the phase shift is very important. In practice, a parallel beam is employed, which represents a plane wave. The effect of potential on such waves can be studied. This can be described by the scattering amplitude f theta, which can also be expressed in terms of phase shift delta. From the earlier relations, we have obtained in the partial wave analysis for the asymptotic form of RLR. So these are our asymptotic form of RLR we have obtained, and that is discussed by us earlier in our earlier lecture. So RLR, asymptotic condition ending to ALKR inverse sine KR plus delta L minus 1 half L pi, and that is simplified and that is called as equation number one, that is represented in yellow box, and that can be in this particular form. Here we have chi L is equal to R RLR and AL is equal to KCL. So these are the constants we have taken. So therefore, the asymptotic form or ux is the ux tending to summation al kr inverse sine in bracket kr plus delta l minus 1 half l pi pl cos theta. And that is equation number 2. Now this is we have written for ux. Now we are writing for the plane wave. For plane wave is e to the power ikz is equal to e to the power ikr cos theta. And that is represented as in partial waves, summation L0 to infinity 2L plus 1 I raised to L JL KR PL cos theta. That is represented as equation number 3. Using earlier spherical Bessel function relations. So we have already discussed this Bessel function relations. JLKR tending to KR inverse sine KR minus 1 half L pi. That is equation number 4. Now we come to the next slide. Using equation 4 in equation number 3 and rewriting for the asymptotic condition using the value of JLKR. So just we go back, we use equation 3 and equation 4. And in that case, e to the power ikz are tending towards infinity. Summation L 0 to infinity 2L plus 1 I raised to L KR inverse sine in bracket KR minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta. That is equation number 5. Now using this equation number 2, equation number 5 for ux and e to the power ikz. So now we use the this equation. So in bracket ux minus e to the power ikz. One is plane wave, another is diffracted wave. And the difference between the two, that is tending to summation over L is AL KR inverse sine in bracket KR plus delta L minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta minus summation L0 to infinity 2L plus 1 I raised to L KR inverse sine KR minus 1 half pi L PL cos theta. Just we are substituting these two equations and simplifying this. So simplifying, so we are focusing on the right hand side only. So we'll notice that KR inverse is common. So summation L0 to infinity and KR inverse we are taking out. And in the square bracket, AL KR inverse sine KR plus delta L minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta. Other term, another bracket, 2L plus 1 I raised to L KR inverse, that is sine KR minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta. Now KR inverse, we are taking common. So we can write in form of these two equations. So it is AL KR inverse sine KR plus delta L minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta we have taken out. 2L plus 1 I raised to L KR inverse sine KR minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta. Now we are writing for summation over KR inverse in bracket square bracket AL KR inverse sine KR plus delta L minus 1 half L pi in another bracket 2L plus 1 I raised to L KR inverse sine KR minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta. Now we are concentrating on these two particular equations. Now, there is a small the typing error. This KR inverse should not be there. This KR inverse should not be there because we have taken out as a common. And same thing in the earlier slide. KR inverse should not be there. This KR inverse should not be there because we have taken out as a common. So, ux minus e to the power ikz is equal to summation KR inverse in a bracket. We have taken AL and we are converting this this sine term. It is sine KR plus delta L minus 1 half L pi into the exponential. So the sine term is converted into exponential term. Minus 2L plus 1 I raised to L. And again, the sine form, the sine term is converted into exponential term. And we know it very well that the sinusoidal form can be represented in form of an exponential term in terms of e to the power ix minus e to the power minus ix divided by 2I is equal to sine. So that form we are writing. Now we are taking 2I common. So summation L0 equal to infinity 2I kr, because we are taking this 2I common. So 2I kr inverse. Kr is already there. So this is Al e to the power uh, uh, kr plus delta L minus 1 half pi L. And we are just taking the plus terms in one side. So minus 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power I kr minus 1 half pi L minus, then we are focusing on this minus term, this minus term. So it is Al e to the power minus I kr plus delta L minus 1 half pi L plus, this minus becomes plus. So it is 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power minus I kr minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta. Now we have taken 2I common. Then again, we have simplified 2I kr inverse e to the power ikr in each term, e to the power ikr. Here you will find out that e to the power ikr. Here e to the power ikr. Here e to the power minus ikr. Here e to the power minus ikr. So we are segregating in terms of e to the power ikr. Then summation al e to the power I delta L minus 1 half L pi. So this term is remaining minus 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power minus I 1 half L pi PL cos theta. And second term 2IkR inverse. Now we are focusing on that e to the power minus IkR. So e to the power minus IkR summation L equal to 0 to infinity minus AL e to the power minus I delta L minus 1 half L pi plus 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power plus L pi and PL cos theta. So we have separated out into e to the power IKR, and another is e to the power minus IKR. So according to the asymptotic condition derived in the wave mechanical picture of scattering at infinitely large distance, it consists of an incoming plane wave plus scattered spherical wave. So one is incoming plane wave, another is scattered wave. The outgoing spherical wave is proportional to the e to the power ikr, and the term e to the power minus ikr should vanish, because when we consider that outgoing spherical wave, then incoming spherical wave should not be present. This happens for all theta only if each term in the second sum vanishes, because PL cos theta are orthogonal functions. So it should be for the term in the bracket. It should happen for all terms in the bracket, and in that case it becomes 0. So considering the second term of equation 7 is 0 and focusing on that, minus AL e to the power minus I delta L minus 1 half L pi plus 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power plus I 1 half L pi equal to 0. That is, we are rewriting equation 7. Then AL e to the power minus I in bracket delta L minus 1 half L pi is equal to 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power plus 1 half L pi. Now we'll notice that e to the power I 1 half L pi, that is common on the both sides. So it remains, it cancels out. Then AL is equal to AL is equal to e to the power minus I delta L equal to 2L plus 1 I raised to L. And from that, the value of constant is AL is equal to 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power I delta L. And that we call it as equation number 8. So equation number 8 helps us to give the value of the unknown constant AL. So considering equation number 7 and taking the first term and considering the second term 0. So again, we focus on equation number 7, considering the first term because second term is 0, and that is in bracket ux minus e to the power ikz tending to 2 I kr inverse, then e to the power I kr. The summation is 0 to L0 to infinity, and then it is 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power I delta L. We are putting the value of AL, then e to the power I delta L minus 1 half L pi minus 2L plus 1 I raised to L e to the power minus 1 half L pi PL cos theta. Now, just we try to simplify that. That is equal to tending to 2 IKR inverse e to the power IKR. So, e to the power IKR summation L0 to infinity. Now, 2L plus 1 is common in the both terms. So, we have taken it 2L plus 1. Then focusing on that, just opening the bracket. So here it is in this term e to the power I delta L, and second is also e to the power I delta L. So it becomes, if you multiply, it becomes e to the power 2 I delta L. And the second term does not have e to the power I delta L. So it is minus 1, and the bracket is over. And like that, we can write this PL cos theta. Now, in this particular equation, we have dropped e to the power minus 1 half L pi and I raised to L, because you will notice that e to the power e to the power 1 half L pi is there in the first term. It is also there in the second term. In the first term, I raised to L is also there. And in the second term, I raised to L is also there. Now, these both the terms are present as a constant factor. That is a phase factor. E to the power minus 1 half L pi is a phase factor. And that is why that phase factor can be neglected. So that constant factor in both the terms are neglected. And that is why we have simplified in terms of equation number 9. Now we come to the next slide. Comparing equation number 9 with f theta e to the power I k r by r. Earlier, in our earlier relation, in the wave mechanical approach, we have already derived this equation. So the f theta is a scattering amplitude is equal to e to the power I k r divided by r f theta. That is again equal to what we have obtained in equation number 9. So equation number 9 should be equal to this equation we already derived earlier. So it is e to the power ikr divided by r 2ik inverse summation L 0 to infinity 2L plus 1 in bracket e to the power 2I delta L minus 1 PL cos theta. And from that, e to the power ikr and e to the power ikr on the both sides is cancel out. So it is 2ik inverse summation L0 to infinity 2L plus 1 in bracket e to the power 2I delta L minus 1 PL cos theta. Then again, further modifying this equation, on further modification, we'll get it into K inverse summation L0 to infinity. Now put it into the bracket 2L plus 1, focusing on this term, 2I delta L minus 1. So 2I in bracket e to the power 2I delta L. And the second term, one is split into e to the power I delta L, and another is e to the power minus I delta L. So multiplication of that again becomes 1. So we split 1 into e to the power I delta L multiplied by e to the power minus I delta L, PL cos theta. And we'll notice that if we take e to the power I delta L common, then in bracket it is e to the power I delta L minus e to the power minus I delta L divided by 2I. That can be represented as sine delta. So the ultimately simplified form is f theta is equal to k inverse summation L 0 to infinity in bracket 2L plus 1 e to the power I delta L sine delta L PL cos theta. So that shows the scattering amplitude in this shows that the scattering amplitude f theta as sum of contributions from the partial waves with L0 to infinity. And that contribution is in terms of the phase shift delta L. So phase shift is related to the scattering amplitude. Now we come to the another part. That part is the phase shift, the relation to the potential. Now that is a very important type of discussion. The phase shift delta L depends only on the asymptotic form of RL. But to determine it exactly, one needs to solve radial equation completely. So sign of phase shift delta L. So if the potential V is an attractive one, if V is attractive, so V is less than 0 for all values of R, the classical turning point R0 where K is K square minus UR in the radial equation overcomes the centrifugal repulsion term L plus 1 divided by R square occurs closer to the origin than in the absence of the potential. So that happens closer to the origin than in absence of potential means V equal to 0. The local wave number, that is K square minus UR minus L plus 1 divided by R square, is greater than it when it was V equal to 0. Both of these effects cause the number of oscillations of wave function between the origin and any point R to be more in case of attractive potential than in the absence of potential. So oscillation becomes more when it is the attractive type of potential. As a result, the phase of the wave is more advanced, greater than phase for the case of V equal to 0. That is the positive phase shift. The reverse thing happens when V is greater than 0. The wave is pushed outward by the potential and becomes slower, and that is why negative phase shift. So in the diagram, it is shown that how the positive phase shift and negative phase shift is happening. So here one can see that positive phase shift and negative phase shift are taking place. And this shows that wave is affected by the potential. So whatever we were discussing earlier in the beginning, that whenever a partial wave encounters the potential, the phase shift takes place. And phase shift indicates that which type of potential was. The interaction with the potential was which type, and that gives the idea on the depending upon the value of phase shift. Now, expression for the phase shift. To express the phase shift in terms of potential, one compares chi L with the corresponding function of the potential free case. So potential free case is chi L0 proportional to RJLKR. Writing the radial equation for potential. So this is the radial equation written in a red box. That is equation number 11. So d2 chi L by dr square in bracket k square minus u L plus 1 divided by r square chi L equal to 0. And that can be written in terms of chi L double prime plus k square minus u minus L plus 1 divided by r square chi L equal to 0. And we call it as equation number 11. Now writing the radial equation for potential free case, u equal to 0. So in that equation, u is equal to 0. So the rest of the equation is safe. But we write in form of a d2 chi L 0. And that can be written in form of a chi L 0 double prime. That is for d2 chi L by dr square. And that we call it as equation number 12. So equation number 12 is for the potential free case. Equation number 11 is for potential. Now multiplying equation number 11 by chi L0. So chi L double prime chi L0 plus in bracket k square minus u minus L plus 1 divided by r square chi L0 equal to 0. And multiplying equation number 12 by chi L. So one equation is multiplied by chi L0. Another equation is multiplied by chi L. So it becomes chi L0 double prime chi L plus k square minus L plus 1 divided by r square chi L0 chi L equal to 0. And that is equation number 14. Now we are taking the difference between the two equations. So we are taking the difference between the two equations. So common equations are removed. So it is chi L, we go to previous slide, chi L double prime chi L0 minus chi L 0 double prime chi L minus U chi L 0 equal to 0, because the rest of the things are common and those are removed. Now taking a prime on the on the bracket. So double prime shows the double differentiation. So we take one prime on the bracket. So it is chi L prime chi L 0 minus chi L 0 prime chi L on the bracket prime. So that shows the differentiation we have taken out common, minus U chi L 0 equal to 0, equation number 15. Now, equation number 15 is a differential equation, because we know that in this equation number 15, it is one prime we have taken out on the bracket. So modifying equation number 15. So equation number 15, we have rewritten over here. This is equation number 15, and that is a differential equation, and we are integrating it. So integrating means one prime on the bracket removes. So chi L prime minus chi L 0 minus chi L 0 prime chi L, and on the right hand side it becomes an integral. So 0 to R U R prime chi L R prime chi L 0 R prime dr prime, because we are using dummy variable, and we know that dummy variables are represented by prime ones. And ultimately, the dummy variable can be removed by putting the limit of the integral. So here, the limit of integral is 0 to R. So whenever we put the limit, dummy variable will go away. So this relation is independent of the normalization of chi L and chi L 0, normalizing them such that the constant CL in the asymptotic form is unity, which is represented as. So we are taking the normalization condition. So chi L tending to CL sine KR plus delta L, and taking the CL constant equal to 1. So chi L tending to sine KR plus delta L. Now, chi L 0 is tending to CL sine KR minus 1 half L pi. That is equation number 7. So we have already seen in earlier case, the spherical Bessel functions are ALKR tending to KR inverse sine KR minus 1 half L pi. And that can be represented as chi L0 is equal to KR JL KR. That is for the chi L0. So there are two things. Now, with the normalization of left-hand side of equation number 16, left-hand side of equation number 16, the above equation integral, which is shown in a yellow box, that has to be normalized. And by using equation number 17 and 18, we can modify it. Now, just the left-hand side of equation number 16, focusing on this, left-hand side of equation number 16, focusing on this. So it is just chi L prime. So equation number 17, so chi L prime. So we have to take a chi L prime. And like that, we have to take chi L 0 prime. So if we write like that, differentiating equation for chi L and chi L 0, then we can write sine chi L minus 1 half L pi. And the second term is differentiated. So chi L is cos kr plus delta L. The second term is minus sine kr plus delta L as it is. And the chi L prime is differentiated. So it becomes cos kr minus 1 half L pi. So we are differentiating chi L and chi L 0. And using the well-known trigonometric relation, so we can write k in bracket sine kr minus 1 half L pi minus kr minus delta L. So this term can be simplified by using well-known trigonometric relation. Again, simplifying k is equal to k in bracket sine minus 1 half L pi minus delta L. Because in this relation, the kr minus kr cancels out. So it is simplified as sine minus 1 half L pi minus delta L. And that minus sign is taken out. So it is minus k sine 1 half L pi plus delta L. And using our earlier relation, we have already mentioned that 1 half L pi plus capital delta L is equal to small delta L. That is the ratio. So that is equal to minus k sine delta L. So that is equation number 19. Now, thus for R tending to infinity using 19 in equation number 16. So it is minus k sine delta L. It is equal to 0 to infinity u r prime chi L 0 r prime chi L r prime d r prime. So just go back. Equation number 19 is put into equation number 16. That is the yellow box, red left hand side. Now we are writing for sine delta L. So taking minus sign on the right hand side and k in the denominator. 0 to infinity u r prime chi L 0 r prime chi L r prime d r prime. Now using equation number 18, that is chi L 0 r proportional to r j L k r. And if you remove the proportionality sign, chi L 0 r equal to k r j L k r. So we are putting this value. So sine delta L is equal to minus that 1k is cancels out because we are substituting this in equation. So this k is cancels out with the 1 upon k. So minus integral 0 to infinity u r r j L k r chi L r d r. So 1k is cancels out. So k and 1 upon k cancel out. And we call it as equation number 19. So equation number 19 is rewritten and renamed as equation number 19. So this expression for the phase shift is exact, but do not know chi L for all r. Suppose chi L differs very little from chi L 0 r, and this is shown in equation number 18 using equation number 18 in 19. So using equation number 18 in 19. So sine delta L is equal to minus k u r r square j L square k r d r. Now this is the Born approximation of the phase shift. So if we consider that the expression of phase shift is not exact, and if we consider that chi L differs very little from chi L 0 r, so in this way, this is shown in equation number 18. So this is shown in equation number 18. So we can put that value and by using it in equation number 9. So again, we are putting this value. So KR again, 1 KR is already there, RJLR. So it becomes R square JL square because one more JL we are putting. So R square JL square KRD and 1k because of this comes out. So like that, we can modify this equation. This is the Born approximation for the phase shift. For this approximation to be valid, it is required that the effect of UR potential in the radial equation 11 is very small. And this happens when the kinetic energy term or the centrifugal potential dominates. Now, in the former cases, delta L is small for all L. And using this equation, e to the power 2I delta L minus 1 can be approximated equal to 2I delta L, can be approximated to 2I sine delta L. If we consider that delta L is very small, e to the power 2I delta L minus 1 can be considered approximately equal to 2I delta L. If delta L is very small, then sine delta L can be approximated to equal to delta L. So it is approximately equal to 2I sine delta L, and that is shown in the yellow box on the top. Now, we can write for F theta. So F theta is the scattering amplitude. So it is 2I K inverse summation L 0 to infinity 2L plus 1 e to the power 2I delta L minus 1 PL cos theta. That can be approximated equal to 2ik inverse L 0 to infinity summation 2L plus 1 2I delta L PL cos theta. So we are substituting the assumption we have done. Then it is approximately equal to 2ik inverse summation L 0 to infinity 2L plus 1 2I sine delta L PL cos theta. And this can be further simplified equal to this can be further simplified in form of that 1 upon k summation L 0 to infinity 2L plus 1 sine delta L, because we are taking this 2I and 2I cancels out. So only 1 upon k is remaining. So here in the bracket we have a 2ik, and in the summation, before the summation, we have a 2I. So that here 2I, let me go back, 2I, and this 2I is in denominator, this 2I is in the numerator, so cancels out. So only 1 upon k is remaining. So 1 upon k summation 2L plus 1 sine delta L Bl cos theta, and we call it as equation number 21. So here we have used equation number 9. Now, using equation 20 in 21. So using equation 20 in 21. So f theta is equal to 1 upon k summation L0 to infinity 2L plus 1. And in this equation number 20, so let me go back, it is equation number 20. So this is equation number 20. So it is in bracket minus k 0 to infinity u r square j l square k r dr p l cos. And if we try to simplify, then we can write it is minus, we are taking out. So it is summation L0 to infinity 2L plus 1 in bracket 0 to infinity u r square jl square k r dr p l cos. Now, this is a f theta we have obtained from the partial wave analysis. Now, we have to compare this result with the Born approximation. In Born approximation, we have obtained the results which is shown in a green box. So, this is f theta 1 upon k u r sine k r dr, and where k is equal to 2k sine theta by 2. And compare with the partial wave. In the partial wave, it's a blue box. It is f theta minus summation L0 to infinity 2L plus 1 in bracket 0 to infinity u r square jl square k r dr pl cos. Now, if we try to compare the results, then partial wave and Born approximations are almost similar. Now, this is equal to, now if we take that 2L plus 1 jl square k r PL cos theta and sine KR by KR. Now we have a 2 over here, so R square. So this R square, we are taking this R square in a comparison. This R square we are taking on the left hand side. And in that case, this R square will cancel out with 1 R and it will come into denominator. So just if we try to compare these two relations and just simplifying, we can get very easily this equation. It is sine kr by kr, and on the left hand side, the partial. Only thing is that r square goes to the left hand side. Then this shows that both results are comparable. Left hand side is the partial wave, right hand side is the Born approximation. Now we come to another small interesting topic that is known as the optical theorem. The optical theorem is in analogy with the long-standing use of complex refractive index for discussing partially absorbing media. So in optics, we have a optical theorem, and that is used for the partially absorbing media. So there we use the complex refractive index. So optical theorem was first derived by E. Freiberg in 1932. And the generalized optical theorem can be written, which is shown here in the yellow box. Be 0 to 2 pi, 0 to pi, f star k, k prime, f k, k r k, sine theta r, dr, d theta r, then d phi r is equal to twice pi I k in bracket f star k, k prime minus k prime k, and that is equation 24. Now, if V possesses inversion symmetry, so in that case, f k prime k is equal to f k k prime. So you can invert it. So that can be written in form of 0 to 2 pi, 0 to pi, f star k prime k r, f k r k sine theta r, d theta r, d phi r is equal to 4 pi I m by k. I m shows imaginary part in bracket f k prime k bracket over. That is known as equation 25. Now the total scattering cross section we have already derived earlier. That is equal to sigma equal to 2 pi 0 to pi sigma theta sine theta d theta, and that is represented in terms of partial wave 4 pi divided by k square 0 to infinity 2l plus 1 sine square delta l. That is equation 26. The total cross section can be related to f0, means theta equal to 0. In the Legendre polynomial, if p1 is equal to 1, how it is derived? Pl cos theta, p1 cos 0 is 1. So for theta equal to 0, p1 is equal to 1. Now writing for f0, so f0 is equal to 2ik inverse 0 to infinity 2l plus 1 e to the power 2I delta L minus 1 PL cos theta. And that can be represented as equal to 2ik inverse 0 to infinity 2L plus 1 e to the power 2IL minus 1. And PL cos theta means P1 we are writing. So it is equal to P1 1. So 1 upon K equal to 1 upon K summation 0 to infinity 2L plus 1 sine delta L P1 1. And that is equation number 27. So the total scattering cross section can be written as sigma equal to 2 pi divided by ik f0 minus f star 0. And that is equal to 4 pi divided by k, the imaginary part, f0. So in order for scattering to take place, the particle must be removed in an amount proportional to sigma from the incident beam. So whenever beam is incident on the target and scattering is taking place, the particle must be removed from the incident beam so that the intensity is smaller behind the scattering center, approximately theta equal to 0, and in front of it. So naturally, whenever scattering is taking place, the intensity should be 0, just behind the target than in front of the target. This can happen only by the interference between the two terms in the asymptotic region, as it happens in the optics. H. Feshbach and his co-workers used optical model for neutron-nucleus interaction in elastic static. For further reading, textbook of Quantum Mechanics by Matthews and Venkatesan and Quantum Mechanics by Schiff. And the contributors, Hermann Feshbach, born in 1917, died in 2000, American physicist. H. Feshbach and co-workers use optical model for neutron-nucleus interaction in elastic static. In the last slide, thank you very much. Thank you very much for patient hearing. Thank you very much. Now I stop sharing the slide. Thank you very much.